All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
And with freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios. My guys, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
And Eddie Ortiz.
Yo.
Episode 194, full swing, full motion, man. We are so happy to be here with you guys and for you to be here with us, whether you are live streaming, whether you are podcasting, or whether you are YouTubing with us. Thank you so much for making this time to be with us in this time, as we have so much across the sports landscape to break down and get to today, guys. We have so much. We got to talk about a lot of things Chiefs, a lot of things NFL. We're going to be handing out some L's as we do every single day at the end of the show. We also have a special, second consecutive special Eddie Hour, where I'm assuming we're going to be talking a lot of World Cup. I'm really excited about that. Eddie, as you can tell by the jersey he's wearing today, he's rocking today. Mexico, Viva Las Mexico, has a lot going on today with their game today with, I believe, Ecuador, if I'm not mistaken. Argentina, I apologize. So this is a big event for Mexico, maybe an historic event for Mexico, which is ironic because Argentina was the team that Eddie initially picked to win the World Cup. So you know this is going to be a very emotional game for Eddie, and we're rooting for our guy, for the nation of Mexico, man. This is a big matchup for them as well. We're probably going to talk a lot of U.S. as well, what they did against England, a surprising draw, if you will. And now they got to go up against Iran. I believe that's Tuesday. There's a lot to talk about, guys. Like I said, we start here first and foremost when I say thank you guys so much for everybody that's already subscribed to our YouTube channel. If you've not done that yet, go ahead and hit us up on there. You can follow us at the bottom of the screen. You can see where all of our social medias are at, and you guys can follow us there. But definitely hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, because that is where we're trying to grow this bad boy, and we appreciate everybody that's already done that. Let's start, though, first and foremost with what took place on Sunday night, Chiefs versus Chargers at SoFi Stadium. There was a lot of good vibes coming out of this game. I think that we all talked about this in episode 193 last week, about how we felt really good about this one, even though we all assumed this was probably going to be a game that the Chiefs and Chargers played pretty close, because that's just on brand with these two teams, especially of the last few years, where both these teams are just, no matter where they're at in the standings, no matter who's available on the field, these teams always seem to play each other so well. And the Chargers, to their credit, they can lose to any and everybody on their schedule. They can come into this game 0-8, and they can come and play the Chiefs, and they'll play them tough. They'll play them hard. They'll play them with everything they got. And that's exactly what we got in this game. We saw the Chargers get back both their key star receivers in Mike Williams and Keenan Allen for this one. They knew that they were going to go in there and try to give it everything they had, because if they win this game, they're only a game and a half outside of the Chiefs for the AFC West, and all of a sudden we're looking at this thing, we're white-knuckling it, because then it becomes an actual race for the AFC West. So the Chiefs knew, and I said going into this matchup that the Chiefs also need this game, are going to look at this game as a desperation attempt as well. It's not just going to be the Chargers that go after this one. We see superstars across the board in LA, and we saw the great Henry Winkler, which, by the way, if you've not done it yet, go ahead and check out the new Red Tribe Cinema video. What happens throughout the entire video is incredible. I mean, Clay is just the GOAT when it comes to splicing up these videos and making something that enjoyable. But go watch the very end and what he does with Winkler and the Mahomes connection. It's pretty incredible. But you saw Henry Winkler, a superstar actor, just gazing and just gawking over Patrick Mahomes on the Rich Eisen show, and then going on the sidelines and talking to Patrick. You see Travis Kelce wearing the Fonzie shirt. Like, there was just a lot of good vibes. You saw the place just littered in red. You saw that whole stadium just filled with red. You saw the videos, and when they did the home of the Chiefs, and it was just loud as if it was Arrowhead Stadium. And so you knew the Chiefs were feeling good about this one. But to the Chargers' credit, they played this game very tight, and they played this game very well. I felt like they had multiple opportunities to win this game. And actually, what I want to do is I want to start Tarantino style today. We start at the end and kind of work our way through the beginning to the middle to back to where we started at the end. And this is where I think this game, of any game this season, even though the Chiefs have had massive blowouts and super impressive victories, great high octane offense in big games against teams like the Bucs and the 49ers, the Cardinals, I think this game of all showed the greatness of what Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce truly are as individuals and as a duo. I think this game showed us that Patrick Mahomes has ran away with the MVP, and I think that Travis Kelce, the more and more I think about it, I'm going to break this down in a second, has really put himself in strong consideration as the offensive player of the year. So I like to call it the GOAT-to-GOAT connection. I like to call it that because I think these are the two best players to ever play their positions, and I stand by that firmly. It was on full display, and for the second consecutive time at SoFi. We know how the game last season, deep in the last season, ended with Travis Kelce on the drag route, scores a touchdown, it's a walk-off. It's the same exact play, and it ends the same exact way for the Chiefs at SoFi Stadium in a closeout victory against the Chargers. This season, think about how insane these numbers are. When targeting Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes has a 138 quarterback rating this year. Not only is that the best in the NFL this season, it's the best for any quarterback to any receiving player in the NFL in a decade, since 2012, Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski. When the Chargers went up 27-23 with 1 minute 46 remaining, all I personally could think about was the Chargers just fucked up. Now, I know it's easy to say that with revisionist history. Oh, I know how the game ends. But, Trevor, you and I watched this game together. When they scored that touchdown, did either one of us flinch?
Nope.
Not one single bit.
We were pissed because we don't like being scored on, but...
100%. But the first thing I did when I saw that touchdown, and I saw, I forget, was it Everett? It was in the end zone doing the little meditation thing. Was it?
No, it was Palmer.
Thank you, Palmer. When he was in the end zone, he was doing the little meditation thing. I'm like, they just fucked up.
Yep.
They could have ran some more clock down and make this thing that much more stressful for the Chiefs. Chiefs did have multiple timeouts. I think they had all 3 timeouts left. But the fact is they left way too much time on the clock for Patrick Mahomes. They left far too much time on him for doing what he does best, which is hand AFC West teams L's. In the Mahomes era, the Chiefs are not only now 24-3 versus the AFC West, they are 14-0 on the road versus AFC West teams. Within a matter of 3 months, we went from the narrative being the AFC West is the most stacked division in the history of the NFL. Literally, that is a line dropped on several shows in the national media, too. It's Thanksgiving, and the Chiefs have already wrapped up the AFC West. This thing is done. Maybe not mathematically, but this is done. The Chiefs now have a 4-game lead with 7 games to go. This is done. And, of course, as we all assumed, now Mike Williams is out this week against the Cardinals when he tried to conjure up some voodoo to get into this game, and I think he played like 10 snaps.
Chargers keep rushing their guys back.
Yeah, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and Mike Williams have played only 46 snaps this season out of like 680 offensive snaps. Yeah. It's unbelievable how banged up this team has been this year. But this is the way. This is what happens every single season. Which I talk about this final drive and this game as a whole is why Patrick Mahomes, in my eyes, has locked up the MVP. He would have to play Josh Allen-esque over the next 5-6 games to him to lose this MVP race. And again, it's crazy to me like how we don't pay attention enough to it, because I felt like there was so much attention about losing Tyreek Hill to now seeing Patrick Mahomes lead the league in yards by a substantial margin, lead the league in touchdowns by a substantial margin, without not only Tyreek Hill, but in this game, did what he did without Juju Smith-Schuster, McCole Hardman, and Kadarius Toney. Literally did nothing and only played, I think, a quarter and a half. So he's down 3 pivotal receivers to the point they were relying on a guy like Sky Moore that we're going to talk about in just a second. And Patrick Mahomes still put up over 330 yards and 3 touchdowns, completing over 59-60% of his passes. That wasn't great, but the dude had over 100 in quarterback rating in this game without those guys. He locked up the MVP vote. And the reason why, again, I said that Travis Kelce, in my mind, is making a strong conversation and case for himself as the Offensive Player of the Year this year. He may not get it, but he's making a case, is the fact that also losing Tyreek Hill should have hurt him as well. Because now defenses can gauge on him and focus even more so on him and say, look, they don't have that burner out here, that transcendent wide receiver in Tyreek Hill on the other side. Let's just focus on Travis Kelce and let everybody else beat them. Well, Travis Kelce's leading the league in touchdowns right now. In fact, with 7 games to go, he's already tied his career high in touchdowns for a single season with 11. And he's on pace for almost 1,500 receiving yards and 119 receptions. And again, that also should play into the fact of how difficult it's been for Travis Kelce, knowing there's all these new pieces around him. He knows he's the catalyst to every single game, every single matchup, and he's still putting up crazy numbers like that. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, 8 of his 11 touchdowns this season have come against AFC West opponents, and they haven't even played the Broncos yet. Think about how insane that is.
Them against in the Raiders, one Raiders game. So yeah.
And here's the thing about this tandem, real quick, and we're gonna move on. I don't know how long this is going to last because Travis is 33, so he's probably got maybe 2 to 3 more really good years left at best. All I do know is I'm going to enjoy this thing as long as it exists, as long as it stays together, because I think, in my opinion, guys, at their apex, at their best, I don't know if there's ever been a better duo. And I don't say that lightly because there have been some great duos. We saw Randy Moss and Tom Brady for that 1 year. We saw Tom Brady and Gronk. We saw Jerry Rice and Joe Montana, Jerry Rice and Steve Young, Marvin Harrison, Peyton Manning. We've seen some great duos, but I don't know if there's been a better overall duo, and the sample size and what we've seen from Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce as a duo over the last 4 or 5 years. I don't know if we've seen a better duo, and I would love to have that conversation another time. But I wanted to take that off the top and just talk about the ending and how this game ended. But you guys remember our key players last week, how we talked about how, we have 2 guys every single week that we want to talk about specifically that will play a key point in this game. One of my guys was out of left field, but it was Harrison Butker. I said he needs to be nails in this game because we knew it was going to be probably a tight game. And he needs to go out there and be nails. And if he's nails, the Chiefs are going to win this game. It was a 3-point victory. Harrison Butker went 3 for 3 in field goals and 3 for 3 in PATs. This is about as clutch as he comes. And for some reason, he is so nails at SoFi Stadium. We remember the first Justin Herbert game in 2020. He hit 3 straight 58-yard field goals because they took 2 timeouts back-to-back, and they nailed the other one. It looked even better than the other 2. There's something about how he plays. And again, this is why I don't give up on Harrison Butker, because he will do this where he will miss chip shots. You're like, how the fuck does he miss these? But then he'll go out there and sink a 58-yarder. He hit, I think it was a 52-yarder in this game. So this is why Harrison Butker is who he is, and this is why the Chiefs still believe in him. We saw this in the Bills game in the divisional round last year. Cold as fuck. It's 14 degrees outside, and he sinks a 55-yard field goal with precision. That is why he was my key player of the game, and I appreciate what he did. Something else that we need to talk about, guys, is Steve Spagnuolo and what he's done with this defense. Now, you could talk about Joe Cullen being the defensive line coach that came over from Jacksonville. He's made a massive impact this year, and I think that should not shock anybody. We talked about this before the season as to why I was very confident in this nucleus getting back to where they were in 2018 and 2019 as a defense that can get to the quarterback. And they did. They've done just that. In fact, guys, I don't know if you saw the stat I posted yesterday, but they're through 10 games this season. The Chiefs have 32 sacks, which is 4th best in the league, right? Last season and through 17 games, the Chiefs had 31 sacks. So they've already eclipsed last year's sack total. And people thought they got worse at the edge rush. They got worse at defensive line. Chris Jones is arguably the defensive player of the year so far. He's going to have 13, 15 sacks this season. He might get to his 2018 total that he had at 15 and a half. And it's not even him. Look at Mike Dana. Mike Dana has 7.5 career sacks. 4 of them are against Justin Herbert in his career. He is Justin Herbert's father. Like, it's amazing what he's done against in these big AFC
sons.
West. Yes, they are our sons. But you got to give Joe Cullen a lot of credit, like I said, for what he's done. But Spags deserves so much credit for making those necessary adjustments to get the most out of this very young and inexperienced defense, because we talked about it, about losing Tyrann Mathieu, losing Dan Sorensen, Ben Neiman, all these guys that Spags was comfortable with, and then interchanging them with these young rookie guys, and look how much the stats don't look great, but when it comes to the sack totals, quarterback pressures, knockdowns, hurries, you see across the board the Chiefs are in the top 10. And I have to give Spags a ton of credit for that. And that actually one I want to move to with my defensive player of this game that I really want to give a lot of credit to is Nick Bolton. The man had 14 combined tackles in this game, 10 solo, and is now 4th in the league in tackles. Think about that. Nick Bolton going from the best rookie tackler last season, leading all rookies in tackles, to now being one of the 5 best tacklers in the entire league. It's unbelievable how he is quickly becoming one of the 3, maybe even one of the 2 best draft picks that Brett Veach has ever had to this point. Like Trent McDuffie, Karlaftis, they're showing a lot of promise. They might end up taking that spot. But when Nick Bolton, he is a surefire tackler. Every time you see him in open space, a receiver gets a little dump off or a running back gets a little dump off, you see Nick Bolton, you know it's over. You know he's bringing them down. And that's exactly what he does each and every time. And not to mention, had the game-sealing interception in this game. Clutch plays across the board from Nick Bolton, man. Willie Gay, big-time sack on that delay blitz. Like, these linebackers are clicking and are everything the Chiefs have needed for years. Like, we love DJ. Derrick Johnson was the best tackler in Chiefs history. But you saw the limitations as he got older. He was not able to do the things that Nick Bolton and Willie Gay are now doing with their physical peaks in their early 20s. Duo. It's unbelievable what they're doing, man. And that has been a massive, massive difference, and it's made it a lot easier for Chris Jones, who sometimes is on an island when guys like Mike Dana go down or Turk Wharton go down, and for the cornerbacks when these young guys are still learning their way into this league. Having guys in the middle of the field that can shore things up makes it easier for everybody. It's so complimentary what they're doing. And let's go to the offensive side real quick with Isaiah Pacheco. This is, a guy that Trevor and I, Eddie, I know we've all been big on this kid. And I said by week 11, he's going to be the running back one. And that's exactly what he did by week 11. And he had his biggest game of his career to this point. In fact, he became the first 100-yard rusher for the Chiefs since week 4 of last season against the Eagles. So he made himself, and we talked about this, the Chiefs needed to establish the run game in this one. And I talked about Clyde Edwards-Helaire was going to be my guy. Unfortunately, Clyde has another injury, and we can talk about that later in the show if we want to, but Clyde has a high ankle sprain. He's probably going to miss 4 to 6 weeks, which is why Rojo's probably going to get called up, which I've been calling for a long time. I didn't think it was going to be for circumstances like this. But Isaiah Pacheco made a statement in this game, man, that he is the running back one for this team. He is a guy worthy of these snaps. He's not scared of the moment. The moment's never too big for him, and he has the athletic attributes to make big plays. I saw a lot of film study guys on Twitter all week talking about his quick feet and his burst and his twitch that makes Isaiah Pacheco stand out, and you can tell the development. He's already ahead of the game. A 7th-round running back should not be this good already. Given the limited amount of snaps he's been given, to play the way he's playing right now, that is high praise to the Chiefs coaching staff. And we know that they don't like to run the ball as much here in Kansas City. It's an air raid offense, essentially. But what Isaiah Pacheco is doing in this offense on the ground game is going to make things so much easier for Patrick Mahomes. Because now we know that defenses are going to have to respect what Isaiah Pacheco brings to the equation every single week. That is high praise. This is the kind of game, guys, that I think can really burst him out and say, I've already done this. I've already been a 100-yard running back. I have that now on my belt. That confidence is there. The offensive line and him have that chemistry going. And we all know that those offensive linemen love to go up and push forward. They don't like to, protect passes all the time. They look forward to those types of plays. And this offense is built, ironically, to do so. And that's why you saw the results of Isaiah Pacheco doing what he does. And when it comes to Sky Moore, I felt special. I felt special about this kid. I said, I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's going to happen. Sky Moore is going to show the league what he's made of. I think, unfortunately, the special teams blunders early in the season really put a dark cloud over him, and it's followed him all season about what he actually is, which is supposed to be a good wide receiver, and he is a good wide receiver. You've not seen the opportunities really show forth. He's not really been able to give that opportunity. Well, this week, he got that opportunity. Again, Juju out. McColl out. Kadarius Toney gets hurt with the injury, with the hamstring. Sky Moore steps up, gets 5 receptions for 63 yards. In fact, I think he converted 2 big third downs. That one where he was like the Julian Edelman play, where he's right on the ground. He somehow sucks that thing in, man. Big time plays. Sky Moore, the moment's not too big for him either. And this is what I love about these rookie players that the Chiefs got in this draft. We talked about this. I was like, these guys are all about ball. The moments aren't too big for these guys. Sky Moore, Isaiah Pacheco wanting to prove themselves as NFL players early and often in their careers. Both of these guys were key catalysts to the Chiefs winning this game. Sky Moore created separation with ease. You saw how many times Patrick Mahomes saw him in the spots that he wanted him in, that zone coverage or man coverage when the motions were going. All of a sudden, Sky Moore is becoming a pivotal part of this offense. I'm telling you guys, if he plays this way for the rest of this season, the Chiefs are going to have the most unstoppable offense in the NFL because, again, to backtrack, with Isaiah Pacheco doing what he's doing, and my belief in Rojo once he comes up, I'm telling you, there's not going to be a weakness in this offense at all. Look across the board. You have young, hungry guys around Travis Kelce, this veteran GOAT tight end with Patrick Mahomes to pick and choose who he wants to throw to. It's going to be unstoppable, guys. So, all in all, I wanted to talk about the positives here and bring up all the positives here because Chiefs fans better be feeling good about this team moving forward, man. I know being 8-2, obviously you're going to feel good about things, but it's the fact that the Chiefs are starting to play better football as the season goes on, winning their 25th straight game in November and December.
wild.
Things are just getting better, guys. Like, I don't want to sound overly excited here, but it's hard not to be. Because you look at the rest of the schedule and you look at what the Chiefs did in this game when the Chargers had to win this game. And when that little amount of time left, everybody knew the Chiefs were going to win the game. Everybody knew it. That's why I didn't get scared. I didn't get nervous. I was like, all right, go win it, Patrick. You got this game because you own teams like the Chargers. And that is why you're seeing the Chiefs yet again at the top of the AFC West and yet again at the top of the AFC. Contributors like this across the board. You have what is this? Travis Kelce's 10th season, 11th season in the league. And then you have rookies like Sky Moore and Isaiah Pacheco playing at the level they're playing. That is leadership from the coaching staff. That is leadership from Patrick Mahomes. That is leadership from Travis Kelce and Chris Jones to get these guys ready for the big moments like this. And they lived up to it. I couldn't be more happy about it, man. I know Kadarius Toney is going to be struggling with this hamstring. I've talked to guys like Shaggy Shane and other people, and I think it's best that the Chiefs just kind of let him rest for the next couple of weeks and get that hamstring right because of guys like Sky Moore who are emerging, because of the fact that Juju's now back. You don't have to push him back out there and try to get him ready for the postseason because you want that little X factor out there because the kid's special. But as I talked about going into the trade, my concern is his injury problems. And the hamstring has been a legitimate problem. And now he's going to miss his 13th game in just a year and a half in the league. So let him rest, let him get ready, and let him become that contributor again. Because I think if he stays healthy, guys, Kadarius Toney is going to be a special, nice, gadgety, twitchy, good wide receiver that can extend plays with big playmaking ability. But all in all, despite that injury, despite some of the things that I felt that the Chiefs could have done better, like the 3rd and 18 call, holy Christ, Spags, can you quit doing single high safeties on 3rd and longs, please? Yeah. For Christ's sake, do cover 2. Regardless of all those things, I saw a lot of great things in this game, and I was very appreciative of what the Chiefs did out there and making things, just taking over the AFC, like I said, and Patrick was taking over the MVP conversation. I think it's dead. It's over with. But I would love to hear what you guys thought about this one. What was your overall takeaway in this one, Trevor?
I mean, this was a big game, and it was a big game with us being very shorthanded. So, I mean, this was a big game and a big opportunity for some guys that had a chance here to prove themselves. And I saw nothing but guys on both sides of the ball proving themselves. Mike Dana stepping up. Willie Gay's sack. Chris Jones' dominance continues. And then, like you said, Sky Moore. I believed in that kid since day one. I know he has that ability, and his ability to create separation and beat guys off the line of scrimmage for a rookie is extremely impressive. And his hands are exceptional, and I think this is a great catalyst or a great launching pad moment for his career, because I believe he is a massive part of the future plan for this Chiefs offense. For our future plans with this offense as far as wide receivers go and the production of this offense. So it was really good to see that. It's good to see him perform in big moments, converting a couple big first downs on some drives. Late in the game, that was a big 3rd down conversion on that drive there. So seeing Isaiah Pacheco, who I've called the best runner on this team since the beginning of the season, I just believe in his style of running. I think his style of running fits this offense. What we need is as a thunder to the lightning, a lightning to the thunder of our passing game. I would like to see him even getting more involved in the passing game as well. I think he could be deadly in that also. He's just deadly in open field and open space with his speed and his size and his ability to run through people. So that was impressive. I really wanted to get him a touchdown. I wanted him to complete that 100-yard day with a touchdown of some sort, whether receiving or rushing. I just wanted to give him that day, but he played so well. Granted, that defense is terrible against the run, so that was a perfect opportunity for him to get that notch. So I'm glad to see us get another 100-yard rusher. Hate seeing Clyde go down because I felt like they were starting to implement him in the game plan a little bit in the past game and getting him some run there. Unfortunately he went down. Looks like he might miss the rest of the regular season. If I'm being honest, we might save him for the postseason as well. But overall, man, this was an impressive team victory here because we were very shorthanded. Any team goes into a game without their wide receiver 1, 2, and 3, and you go out there and you win a massive divisional game, and you throw 3, 4, you score 3, 4 times. Like that's impressive no matter what team you are. Let alone the Chiefs in a divisional game against a team that plays us well every single time, keeps things close every single time against another, possibly elite talent and quarterback that you're facing there. But we just continued. Andy Reid just continues to flex on this on these divisional teams, and especially in the months of November and December. We just don't lose divisional games. We just don't lose games. Period, man. This is not what we do. Patrick Mahomes just refuses to lose to divisional foes. And the dominance just continues, man. That was the word that kept coming to my mind. It's just dominance. There's never been an instance like this in football and in the NFL history where one team dominates the division this much. It's just, I mean, this is just it's something that's unprecedented. What Patrick Mahomes is continuing to do to these guys, and then with all the money put into all these other these divisional teams to try to stop us, and it doesn't even matter, man.
Yeah.
It's you start to feel bad a little bit. These teams is like, man, like I couldn't imagine being a Broncos fan or a Chargers fan or a Raiders fan and seeing these teams just continue to fail. And see our team spend all this money and get all these free agent acquisitions and high draft picks and all this energy put into this just to have the same result. That's gotta suck so bad, and I feel them sometimes, man. But by God, it's good to be on the other side of it, man. It's good to be on the top.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was it was just impressive to see all these other guys, all these other names in these jerseys step up. Watson making some catches. The linebackers, like you said, man, Bolton, that guy is just an absolute animal. Since day one, that guy has just done nothing but get better and better and better every week, it seems. That dude's just playing like a future Hall of Famer already. I mean, that guy is all pro in my mind, and I'm excited to see him grow. But Chris Jones, I think he's arguably the Defensive Player of the Year right now. I know there's a couple other guys with some pretty, impressive stat lines this year so far, but what he's done, even if he's not getting the sacks, what he's doing just to disrupt the offensive lines,
right.
these opposing teams is just so impressive. I mean, it's nonstop. Every snap you see Chris Jones is involved in something. Yeah, a dominance all the way around. I mean, I know it was a closer game than we would have liked. There were some blunders there, some, like you said, with Spags, putting guys in single coverage, and sometimes it's just situational football defensively. Sometimes it's still kind of iffy at moments, but overall, I couldn't be more impressed with the inexperience of this young secondary. As good as they're playing right now, and that's only going to get better and better as the year goes on, heading into the postseason. So Patrick Mahomes did what he does. Travis Kelce once again, walk-off fashion against the Chargers. I mean, you couldn't write it any better. You know what I mean? So
right.
I mean, there's nothing much more than a flex for Andy Reid to call the same play, had the same play drawn up to win down the stretch in the final drive against the Chargers with the same exact play to the same exact player. That's hard to swallow if you're a Chargers fan or a Chargers player. So hell of a game though, man. I mean, these guys always find a way to keep it tight, competitive. They were shorthanded as well, so respect. Overall, just great divisional game. Happy we came out with a victory.
Man, you guys said everything. But what I took out of this game is this offense, what this offense can do, even with your top weapons being out, especially going out during the game as well, with Clyde going out and Kadarius Toney, your number one weapon that game, your number one receiver in that game, going down. So having to rely on Travis Kelce and a bunch of rookies and obviously inexperienced players, pretty much with Watson, Fortson, it was amazing just watching Patrick Mahomes do the same thing he does with those kind of players. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those players that might not be the greatest players out there, but man, he makes it look great out there. So
that's what the greats do, man. There's no panic.
Yeah. So that just seeing Patrick Mahomes, getting it done, being able to be himself even with injuries and whatever. And then I'm also happy that we get Pacheco the ball, It was time. I've said it for the past 2 weeks. It's like if we name Pacheco the starter, let's make sure he gets the snaps, Let's make sure he gets the plays. And it finally happened. Yes, it's one of the worst defenses in the run defenses in the league, but this was one of those games where you can get Pacheco going, you know what I mean? Like, if you get Pacheco like the 100 yards like he did, this can only motivate him for the next game and for the next game, especially now that you're in the home stretch leading into the playoffs.
Yeah,
this is where you want your players to start getting hot. And I think that game was just perfect for Pacheco, and I think moving forward, it could be that game changer for Pacheco and for the Chiefs, utilizing him more in the run game, helping Patrick Mahomes not have to throw the ball 50 times, 60 times a game. So, and then obviously have the defense to adjust throughout the whole game. So, that only makes our offense even that more deadly. Defensive wise, Chris Jones was sensational. Just putting the pressure on Justin Herbert. Make sure he didn't do those magical plays that he sometimes does. Keenan Allen, man, you can't stop that guy. That guy's insane. He definitely made the Chargers offense look way better than what it is. Obviously, with him being gone, Mike Williams being gone, obviously the Chargers offense was struggling. But with Keenan Allen, just that one player, it's crazy how he can change an entire team.
Yeah,
an entire team offense.
Yep.
So that's a transcendent talent right there. But our defense held it together. He got his catches and all that stuff, but the defense still held it to where it wasn't too much. We weren't giving up way too much. And towards the end of the game, I think we purposely let the Chargers score that touchdown to go ahead because we knew we had the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like just let him in. Don't let him waste the time. Just let him in.
Yeah.
And we'll let Patrick Mahomes work. I was a little scared there at the last drive with Patrick Mahomes. It was the holding call that saved us on that one. Because if not, it would have been like 4th and 10 or so, or 4th and 8, I think. Because I think Travis Kelce missed. I don't know who he threw it to, but they missed the catch. But then we got the holding call, so we got a little break there, which I'm thankful for. And then Patrick Mahomes did his thing.
We deserve those every once in a while.
Yeah. But what I loved after the game, they interviewed Chris Jones, and they asked him, was like, what's changing your game, because you get into the quarterback a lot more. You're actually, being able to sack the quarterback now more than last season, being actually able to finish the plays. And I love what he said. He was like, it's like it all goes back to the Bengals game where I missed 2-3 sacks and we lost the game. We got our asses kicked. It's like, so I made it a job of mine to correct those issues and actually go and finish the plays.
Yeah.
So I love how that's still living in Chris Jones' mind because that only makes him hungry.
It's accountability.
Yeah,
Man.
It makes him hungry. It makes me realize that what we saw of Chris Jones in that last game, he saw.
Yeah.
So he took like Trevor said, accountability. I love that when players take accountability.
Leadership, man. It's
yeah.
what
So hearing Chris Jones say that, hearing Chris Jones bring up the Bengals game, I'm like, this team can only be stopped by themselves, kind of like it was last year. So yeah, I'm happy how things went this game.
And to your point about the defense and holding themselves accountable, even in games where statistically they don't look great, they still make big plays and big moments like Chris Jones has done throughout this season. And Trevor's point about how he should have like 11 or 12 sacks right now if they didn't call that bullshit with Derek Carr.
Forced fumbles.
Yeah, there's a lot more that he should have attributed to his individual numbers. But to the defense, like I heard my guys Jack Johnson and Blake Schneiders on 810 a couple nights ago, and they were talking to Nick Lowry, the former great Chiefs kicker. I think he's still all-time leading points getter for the Chiefs. He was talking about how he has a concern about this team moving forward. It's the pass defense, and I know we've talked about that too. But even I'm going to defend them for a second because I did the numbers while I was listening to their show, and I sent this to Blake for them to discuss on the show. The Chiefs have given up the second most passing touchdowns this season with 21. But 8 of those 21 passing touchdowns came when the Chiefs were up double digits. Yeah. So it's not like in big crucial moments they're just giving up touchdowns left and right. Because if you bring those 8 off, they're actually in the bottom 12 in passing touchdowns allowed. So of course you're going to give up touchdowns in garbage time. That's going to happen. We saw Tom Brady throw 3 against the Chiefs in garbage time. We saw Kyler Murray throw 2 in garbage time. You saw Justin Herbert in Week 2's matchup down 10 with a minute to go throw a touchdown. So there's context to these numbers. So I don't want to sit here and bash this defense for giving up passing touchdowns at the clip that they are when most of these touchdowns haven't mattered. A large percentage of them have not mattered. Almost 50% of them have not mattered.
It's on loose defensive schemes. You're playing loose towards the end of those games.
And think about the greatness of what the Chiefs are, guys. Like this is supposed to be that quote unquote down year, right? Because the Chiefs have all these new pieces sprinkled across the board. The Chiefs are now 37-15 in the Mahomes era when they give up 100-plus rushing yards. And 5 of those victories, have taken place this season. 5 of those 37 victories. And he's been playing since 2018. So a lot of the Chiefs are resilient, is what I'm saying. And look at Patrick Mahomes' numbers real quick, and then we're going to move to the Eddie Hour. I put this stat out here 3 days ago. The number of different players Patrick Mahomes has thrown a touchdown to per season. In 2018, he threw to 12 different players. In 2019, he threw to 9. 2020, threw to 10. 2021, he threw to 11. And just through 10 games this season, he already has 10. There are 10 different guys on this team that have caught a touchdown from Patrick Mahomes. So think about the versatility this offense has. Think about the resilience the defense has, and the team as a whole. I really do think that at the end of this season, we can look back and say, this may have been the most impressive season the Chiefs have had as a collective in the Andy Reid era. Because 2020, that team should have won the Super Bowl. Yeah. That offensive line, their health problems totally destroyed that chance. That was the best team in the NFL, and it wasn't close.
And they're facing the best, kudos to them, the best defensive line, arguably the best defensive football.
But we saw what that Chiefs offense did to that Bucs defense when they had just one healthy tackle. Yeah. When Eric Fisher was there, they blew the doors off those guys for 3.5 quarters. Yeah. So that 2020 team was the team that I thought, oh my God, they should have won the Super Bowl. This is that team now, this season, where I'm like, oh my God, they're going to win the Super Bowl. Because to me, this is a better team than even 2020 was. Because 2020 was fun as hell. They had all these electric plays. Tyreek Hill was playing out of his mind. He had 15 touchdowns that season. This defense is so much better this season than it was in 2020. And I think this offense is even better than it was in 2020. As fun and as electric as it was last season, 2 years ago, this offense is clicking on all cylinders, and there are 8, 9, 10 different guys that are playing roles. Think how insane that is. Just a year ago, it was Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and every once in a while you'll get a Byron Pringle touchdown. Every once in a while you'll get a Jody Fortson touchdown before he got injured. Now there's Travis Kelce, he got his numbers, but there's also 6 other guys that got multiple receptions. Yeah. It's so much different, but it's just as scary, if not scarier.
Well, through the first 4 or 5 weeks, we didn't have a wide receiver score a touchdown outside of Watson, I think.
Right.
So early on the year, it was running backs catching Clyde catching touchdowns,
right?
Tight ends catching touchdowns. It was spreading the ball around to everybody other than the receivers. And the receivers started racking them up. So yeah, it's
a good time to be a Chiefs fan. That's all I'm going to say, guys. Enjoy this because this season's only going to get more fun if you ask me. All right, let's get to the Eddie hour here, man. I'm really excited to hear what Eddie's got. I know last week we really dove deep into the FIFA World Cup before it started. Eddie, we've seen a lot just come and go, man. How are you seeing things going? Nevertheless, I don't want to take away from you. What's going on in the Eddie hour this week, my man?
All right, man. Obviously, we've had all the groups play their first match, and now we're going into their second match out of 3. And then out of 3, 2 in each group qualified to the next round, which is known as the knockout stage, kind of like the playoffs. And they play 2-1 game, and obviously, till you get the one champion. So, within the first couple of days, we had obviously Qatar, Qatar being the host of the World Cup this year. It is arguably in contention for being the worst host country to play in a tournament in the World Cup.
Good job, Qatar.
So that's out there. Obviously, we had the USA versus Wales. That was a great game. It was the U.S. should have won that game, but they decided not to. I don't know why. It came down to the wire, but that should have been a USA win. They got 1 point out of it. Crucial.
PK.
I mean, yeah, but it's just crucial for them to find somebody that can finish plays. The U.S. is struggling with finishing a play. Yes, they get the shots on goal. They get the shots on target, but they can't find that finisher that
closer.
that closer that can score the goal, that can find the net, which is what they really need, and that's what they're really struggling with. And then obviously people relying on Christian Pulisic. I love Christian Pulisic, but he is not what people want him to be. He's not there yet. I mean, he's only 22, 23 years old. He's probably younger than that. So he's still young.
A lot of this whole team's young.
Yeah, you got to give him a little bit of time. I said, this team's a little bit too young. And and the amount of pressure being, put on these guys it's a lot. Yeah. So yeah, that was we match one. Then obviously we had a few upsets, major upsets, with Saudi Arabia beating Argentina. I think that was a historical upset. I don't think Saudi Arabia has ever won a World Cup match up until against Argentina, which is insane on its own. It is insane. Congrats to Saudi Arabia, man, because they came out second half and they were like, you know what? We don't give a fuck that it's Argentina. We're going to go at it. And they did. And they did, and they scored the first goal to tie it up, and Argentina looked shocked. They looked shook. They didn't know how to respond. And a couple minutes went by. Saudi Arabia scores the second because Argentina was still in shock. That what just happened? And now they see themselves down 2-1. And remember, I said it last week. I said that if Argentina finds themselves down or losing a game in the group stage, the amount of pressure that it's going to go on Argentina, it's going to make them crumble.
Yeah.
Because I was like, they can handle the pressure when they're winning. But when they lose, I think this team is just going to crumble. And that happened exactly how I predicted it. That once they went down, Argentina did not know how to respond. They tried, but they couldn't finish. They just... The first half, Argentina dominated the game. They could have went up 4-0.
Yeah.
Obviously, 3 goals were ruled off because of offsides. But Argentina was dominating the game. Second half, once Saudi Arabia scored that goal, the pressure, I don't know if the pressure got to the players, but they became a totally different country that we've never seen before. That was the first loss of Argentina in over 30-something games. I think it was 36.
Yeah.
It was a 36 unbeaten streak. And they lose in the World Cup, the biggest stage in the world. You don't want to lose it. Mm-hmm. That was an insane loss, and now pretty much their fate is today at 1 o'clock. We'll see what their fate is. They lose, they're out. They tie, they might have a chance, but it's a must-win for them today. Then the other upset we have was Japan over Germany. I don't want to say it's a super, super crazy historical upset. It is an upset because Japan obviously is a less of a talented team as Germany is. Germany is obviously World Cup champions. Mm-hmm. I believe is 4-time World Cup champions. So them losing to Japan, it was a little bit shocking, surprising, but it didn't surprise me as much because of how Germany has been playing since the last World Cup. The last World Cup, they got eliminated in the group stage. The same way. They lost to Mexico. Shocking defeat. Nobody saw Mexico defeating Germany. But it's like their style of play is starting to get a little bit outdated. They need to adjust to the new style of play, and Japan took advantage of that, and they ended up beating them. And then, obviously, you got the Spain versus Costa Rica. Spain dominated the entire game, beat them 7-0. Costa Rica just went there to, just to show up for the national anthem and disappear for the whole fucking game. Belgium, Canada, that was an amazing game. I thought Canada played really well. I thought Canada deserved the win in that game, to be honest with you guys. I think they outplayed Belgium. I think they're the first country with over 20 shots and 0 goals. I think they're the first country in World Cup history. So I think Canada deserved more than they got, which was a defeat to Belgium. They got lucky on that 1 goal, but it is what it is. Luck, no luck. You need all of it in this stage,
Yep.
Obviously, you got Portugal against Ghana. Cristiano Ronaldo went out there, did his thing. Obviously, not the same Ronaldo we've always known and loved. Struggled for a majority of the game. They were gifted a PK, but as I call it is football justice. Ghana scored and then tied the game 1-1. And then after that, Portugal, started dominating the game again and they scored one goal, then they scored the other goal. So they went up 3-1, and then Ghana came back, scored one goal, but it was too late. And then on the 90th minute, I think the goalie did a little blooper where he just let the ball roll in front of him, and then there was a Ghana player behind him who came around, grabbed the ball, but he slipped, so he wasn't able to control the ball and take a really good shot and obviously tie the game. So they got really, really lucky to come out with a victory in there. Brazil looking phenomenal. Brazil obviously beating Serbia. People might say it's like, oh, they only beat Serbia. It's like, yeah, but Serbia is one of those underdog teams.
Yeah, you were talking about that.
Feisty.
And
strong.
do you have any update on Neymar's injury?
He's playing.
Okay, because that looked pretty bad.
Yeah,
it was all swollen up really bad.
No, he's playing.
I thought they were saying he was out for the group stage.
No.
Oh, okay.
Their head coach came out and said it's like,
it looked bad.
He's playing.
Okay.
He's playing. He just.
I think they're like the team of all teams that can afford to lose a superstar like him because they're so damn deep.
Yeah, I mean, Neymar didn't do much in that game to really change anything.
Right.
I think that the team changed when they took him out. I think the team got a little bit better.
Yeah.
He looked lost the entire game. So it's not. Brazil has the talent to replace Neymar, which is crazy enough.
Right.
So even if he misses a match, which I highly doubted, we're gonna see Brazil just be Brazil.
Yeah.
Obviously, the second round started yesterday with Wales, Iran, Qatar, Senegal, Netherlands, Ecuador, and then England, USA. So Wales, they controlled their own destiny. You know, they were playing Iran. My bad, Iran. So all they had to do was beat Iran. They would go 4 points in the group, take the lead at that moment in time. But everything went downhill. Like in the 88th minute, when Wales' goalie got a red card, and Iran just took advantage of it and ended up scoring 2 goals in the stoppage time, which that was a shocker to me. I was not expecting that at all, especially, being Iran. It's not a team that should be contending for anything. It's not good enough, in my opinion. But them beating Wales made it a little bit harder for the U.S., who was looking for a victory against England. And I think they played well enough to get that victory, but they ended up with the draw, which I think, in my opinion, hurt them a lot more than it helped them. Because now England's at 4 points, then you got Iran at 3, you got the U.S. at 2, and then you got Wales at 1. So the U.S. controlled their own destiny against Iran, a team that's very well motivated after beating Wales. And knowing that Wales and the U.S. tied, so Iran has that, that hope that they can beat the U.S. just like how they beat Iran. Or if, in worst case scenario, they tie the U.S., then Iran advances. You know what I mean? So now the U.S. is in a lot more pressure for the guys. Now all eyes are on them. They have to win. It's a must win for them. You lose, you're out. You draw, you're out. So it's a must win, and it's gonna be very, very, very tough. We'll see how that goes. I expect the U.S. to win, but they gotta find that finisher, because if they can't find that finisher, Iran can take advantage of that and punish you. We saw it against Wales, and so that's gonna be crazy. And then obviously the rounds today, we saw Tunisia, Australia this morning. Nothing crazy there. Australia won 1-0. Then we have Poland, Saudi Arabia. Obviously this group is, I would say, the group of death in a way, with Argentina and Mexico. They're all quite level with each other. Nobody expected this. Everybody expected, obviously, Argentina to be the dominant team in this group, and it did not start that way. Obviously, with how we talked earlier about Argentina losing to Saudi Arabia, it made it very, very close. Poland, Mexico tied their first match, so they got a point out of that. And then so the game this afternoon at 1:00. It's a must-win situation for Argentina. A must win. Yes, they can draw the game or tie the game, but that would only hurt them a lot more. So what Argentina has to do is just come out guns blazing and try everything to beat Mexico. But Mexico is going to come out there and try and knock out Argentina out of the World Cup, which Argentina has always done against Mexico. So this is kind of like that revenge game. Because Mexico wins this game, Argentina is out. And it breaks my heart because I root for Mexico, but then I also want Messi to win the World Cup. So it's
tough place to be in.
And this is arguably this is potentially Messi's last World Cup. I believe it is. So it will be heartbroken if they are eliminated in the group stage. Not seeing him having a chance to fight for a World Cup title. So it's a very, very crucial game here at 1:00. Hope everybody tunes in. It's gonna be amazing. Unless it's not, but it should be. It should be.
Unless it's not, then
it should be a great game because they're both fighting for that next round. Obviously, Argentina with all that pressure, we'll see how they handle it. But like I said, they were good handling the pressure. But if they would lose, or anything, that pressure would make them crumble, and we saw it just exactly that.
Yeah.
So we'll see what can they do with that pressure. Can they get back together? We'll see. Can Mexico actually go out there and do the game plan to actually beat a World Cup contender? They've done it in the past, so it's going to be a very exciting game.
As much as I love Lionel Messi and I want to see him win a World Cup, I want to see Mexico win this match because of the fact that, like the U.S., Mexico has obviously done much more than the U.S. has in the World Cup, but to see them have such a humongous victory like that, which it would be, even though Argentina already lost, to be the ones that take down Messi, that's historic, man. That's something you guys in 40 years are telling your grandkids, man. Yeah. If you ever have them. But I'm just saying, that's a paramount victory right there.
Yeah, yes, especially being the team that eliminated Messi on his last World
Cup. Right.
That's
what I'm saying. The greatest to ever do it, and you guys took him down.
Yeah, being the favorites to win it and losing to Saudi Arabia and Mexico is it's tough.
I'm definitely. I feel like one of those parents that has the jersey in half, where they have the one son's team and the other team. I feel like that. I'm rooting big time for Messi, but man, I want to see Mexico get this one, man. I'm really.
That's me. That's me. I think I'm gonna cry regardless of the outcome today.
Yeah.
Because I want to see Mexico win, but I don't want to see Messi lose. Yeah. I want to see Messi win.
Go Mexico. How about that? Mexico. Go Mexico.
That's actually one of the chants Mexico has. Argentinians were thinking that we're cheering for Messi. They were like, Messi. And they were like, Mexico. They were like, oh,
that's pretty cool.
So, be prepared. You're going to see a lot of news of probably Mexicans and Argentinians going at it on the stands, probably outside the stadiums. They are two of the most passionate World Cup fan bases, I think, in my opinion. They travel really, really well to World Cups. I think arguably they're this game has to be held in the 80,000 seater.
And even that's standing room, all kinds of stuff.
So yeah, it was first scheduled for a 40,000, but then they had to change it a month before a couple months before the World Cup. to where the finals actually being held.
Oh shit! Okay.
So they're playing it on the biggest stadium in Qatar because Mexicans and Argentinians were the most the fan bases that requested the most tickets to
1:00 on
that
a Saturday.
game.
Everybody be watching this
to
game.
That game. So. It's going to be spectacular, but just be aware you might see news tomorrow of a lot of people being arrested, or it's going to be very exciting seeing both fan bases obviously chanting.
But the violence is very exciting.
The violence part, but I'm going to have to say it now, but expect some homophobic chants, expect some pretty fucked up chants.
It's a different world over there, man.
Yeah, not what we want to see, especially in 2022. But with these two fan bases, you never know.
It's no holds barred.
It might not happen. What I'm saying might not happen, and I would love that.
Yeah.
But knowing the history that these two have, and especially if Mexico finds a way to eliminate Argentina for the World Cup,
madness.
Yeah. So expect anything tonight.
All right, that's a great Eddie hour, man. I appreciate. I love talking World Cup. I love hearing Eddie break this stuff down because
at this point we're getting into the
yeah, man, this is great.
We got one more game, in each group, but usually by the second game you kind of know who's advancing, who's not advancing. But yeah, with this group, it's so tight. We don't know even after this game, even after Argentina Mexico game, we don't know out of this group. Out of the 4 teams, we don't know who's advancing. So I'm excited.
Hell yeah, as you should be, man. Because this to me is the best time of sports when the World Cup's going, football. Like, this is the most unique thing ever because we've never had this where the World Cup's going on while the NFL's going on. It's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen, man. I love being a part of this. I love seeing history be made like this, and we appreciate Eddie breaking all that down for us. Let's get to some NFL picks, man. We have NFL Week 12 as we've been doing pretty much all season. We go down a few games here and there that I want to point out directly and see where you guys stand on things because I feel like there's some really intriguing matchups actually this week that I want to break down. Let's start with the noon slate. Actually, the Browns are hosting the Buccaneers. I know this game doesn't really have much to do with the Chiefs or anybody really in the AFC side of things because the Browns are only, I think, 3-7 right now. They don't have a ton to play for, whereas the Bucs are 5-5 at the top of the worst division in football in the NFC South. The Bucs come into this game as a 3-point road favorite with the over/under at 42.5. I'm gonna just get right to the point. I'm gonna hammer the under on this one. I don't think there's gonna be a ton of points scored in this game because I think both defenses are actually gonna have a pretty decent game as far as not allowing a lot of touchdowns. I think that the run game is gonna be so paramount in this one, which is actually why I'm favoring the Browns in this game. The biggest reason why the Buccaneers in this season came into the first 7-8 weeks of the season, they were one of the best defenses in football, and they still at times can look that way, but losing Shaq Barrett is going to eventually hurt them, and I think this is the kind of game that will. This season, the Buccaneers are 3-3. They're only 3-3 against teams when they allow 100+ rushing yards. The Browns are one of the best running teams in the league. They just had a frustrating loss against the Bills. They had multiple opportunities to win that game against a team they had no bit. I think the Bills came into that game like 12-point favorites, so they should have blown out the Browns, and the Browns had multiple opportunities to win that game. They did it. It was a frustrating game. Coming back home the week before Deshaun Watson comes back, they feel like, hey, if we get this victory, our guy comes back, maybe he can string us a couple victories to get back into the playoff hunt down the stretch. The Browns are going to come in this game motivated, and quite frankly, the Browns are the more healthy team. If you look at the injury report for the Buccaneers right now, Leonard Fournette's not supposed to play. Russell Gage is already out. Lucas Goedeke is out. It looks like Vita Vea is questionable at best. He's been limited all week at practice. Julio Jones is actually a full participant. Holy Christ, I didn't think that was going to happen. Levante David did not week. Mike Davis didn't practice, and neither did Akeem Hicks. So the Bucs are coming in here banged up. I think the Browns are more desperate because the Bucs also know that their division's so bad. I'm not saying they're going to come in here like, oh, we could lose, but I don't think they're going to be as motivated as the Browns are in this game for the reasons I explained. And the Browns have the recipe to beat a Bucs team like this that are missing a starter linebacker, that are banged up across the board. Vita Vea doesn't go. I think the Browns are going to rush for 230 yards in this game. I think the Browns are going to win a very close, lower scoring game. I could see it being like 21-18 or 21-19, something in that category. But I think with Tom Brady not having Leonard Fournette when they already have a horrific run game, they're 29th in time of possession this year. It's going to be a limited possessions type of game. I think the clock's going to be running nonstop because the Browns are going to try to run the ball as much as they possibly can. Jacoby Brissett's actually been playing some really good football too, so they need him to throw the ball to Amari Cooper against that weak secondary of the Buccaneers. I think the Browns can move the ball against this Bucs defense. They may struggle to score points. There may be a lot of field goals in this one, but I'm going to give the home team the advantage of this one. They're going to cover the 3.
Yeah, I think this is actually a tough spot for the Browns coming off that loss to the Bills. And I just don't. I haven't liked what I've seen out of them lately. That defense has been bad. They've been just getting gashed by everybody. And I just think this is. I think coming off the bye, I think this is a good spot for Tom Brady. The only concern I have in this game is they're saying it's going to be fairly windy out there, so Tom Brady might not want to throw the ball that much. And Leonard Fournette, I don't think is playing this game. I think he's going to be out. So they have White is their back, who's actually been playing really well. He's a good pass catcher. So I think we're going to see. I think LeBron. I think Tom Brady is going to go out there and just dink and dunk his way to this victory, this game. I don't think the Browns have much of a chance. I mean, they have a chance, obviously, but if they want to run the ball, fine. But they're not good when they trail, and I think the Bucs jump out early. All their weapons are healthy outside of Leonard Fournette. All the receivers, and they played well last week against the Seahawks, which was an impressive win. The Seahawks were a team that were rolling. They've been playing really good, one of the best offenses, one of the most efficient offenses in this league, and they couldn't get it done against the Bucs. So I think the Browns aren't as good as the Seahawks, and I think this is a tough matchup, and I think there's a lot of pressure on Jacoby Brissett to get this win before Deshaun gets back, and I just don't know. I just don't think the pressure for Jacoby there is going to be a little bit much on him, and if they're trailing and Jacoby has to throw his way back into the game, I think that works into the favor of not only the windy conditions but the defense and the secondary of the Bucs. And this just feels like a game where Tom Brady comes out of the bye, slinging the rock, getting his guys involved. They're healthy offensively right now. The offensive line's a little bit better at this point. They played well last game, I should say, 2 weeks ago. This just feels like a good Tom Brady spot for me. I think it's a lot of like dink and dunks to the running backs and to the wide receivers on some screen plays and some to the flat and everything like that. So I think this is one of those games where I think it might be under. The scoring might not be as high, but I definitely have the Bucs coming on top on this one.
Cool.
Yeah, I think the Bucs are coming in rolling, especially after that Seahawks victory last week. We can't take that away from them, man. Obviously, the Seahawks are a pretty good team. We've seen it. They've actually held their ground. They proved us wrong pretty much since week 1 by beating the Broncos. Yeah, the Browns. I don't know if I can trust the Browns in anything, especially going down, especially this far down the season, getting blown out throughout the season. I just don't know if I can just trust Jacoby Brissett. I know he's been playing pretty good
been a streaky
lately,
team.
but you really can't tell with the Browns. You don't know what version you're gonna get of the Browns this week. So I think that inconsistency is gonna benefit the Bucs in this game. So I think Tom Brady's going to go out there and do his thing.
The one thing the Browns have been consistent in is they've been able to run the ball. I will say that. And here's the thing:
they run the ball very well against the Bills.
Well, that's because the Bills have a good rush defense more times than not.
They were banged up.
And I'll give you got to give the Bills credit for how they played last week against the Browns rush defense, and because they made Jacoby Brissett try to beat them, and he almost did.
But when the Browns are trailing, that's when they start to struggle.
Sure, absolutely.
They're very good front runners.
I don't want to make a case the Browns are a good team. I definitely don't want to do that.
I'd be surprised how bad
Myles Garrett can play a big.
But they haven't.
Yeah,
their defense has been bad.
I know. Denzel Ward's back, though. Myles Garrett's been really good this season despite that. I think he could play a big factor in this one, getting to Tom Brady, making his life hard this week.
Sure.
But moving to, just real quick on the Bucs, just a side note that also something I want to throw out there is why I feel confident the Browns will be able to run on them. The only two offenses the Bucs have faced this season that can run the ball to the level the Browns can are the Falcons and the Ravens.
The Seahawks with Kenneth Walker?
No, I'll give them that. That was just such a weird game being in London. Like I feel like the Seahawks they look so lethargic, right? Like I'll give the Bucs that
the Bucs
one.
defense played well that game.
The other two offenses though that I wanted to bring up were the Falcons and the Ravens that are comparative to the Browns run game. They gave up an average of 191 rushing yards to those running games.
Yeah.
With Shaq Barrett. Like, that's what I wanted to put there. And Levante David may not play, and Vita Vea may not play.
I didn't know Vita Vea was questionable.
Yeah, he's been questionable all week, and he didn't practice on Thursday or Friday.
That's
that's what I'm saying. He's their difference maker. So
sure.
He don't play. I think the Browns are just going to run all over this Bucs defense. But that's what I'll leave it at. The biggest matchup I think of this week is going to be the Titans hosting the Bengals.
Yeah. Dude.
They're disrespecting my Titans here, man. They got the Bengals as 2.5-point favorites without Joe Mixon and they're saying Jamar Chase might play. I doubt it.
He's on crutches to start the week.
They want him to be ready for the Chiefs game next week.
Man.
So I think that Jamar's going to be out. T. Higgins is a little banged up.
Dirty the Titans play.
Yeah.
Jamar could go. Those Titans are gritty and dirty, man.
They got the Bengals as the favorite with the over-under of 43.5, which I can respect that line. But the 2.5 for the Bengals, that's disrespectful to the Titans, who I think right now are the second best team in the AFC.
Dude, they're good.
I really believe they're the second best team. And here's the other thing, man. Like I was just mentioned, the Bengals are banged up, man. La'el Collins finally was a full participant on Friday, so he should play. Trey Hendrickson was a full participant, but Joe Mixon won't play.
Yeah.
It looks like Jamar Chase probably won't play. Chris Evans was a full participant, but he's still unspecified. Daxton Hill was a full participant, but he's questionable. DJ Reader's unspecified. Like, they got a lot of names on this that is kind of tacking on. And while that's going on, the Titans are getting healthier. Jeffrey Simmons is now a full participant. Amani Hooker, Bud Dupree, Ryan Tannehill, Hassan Haskins, Derrick Henry, Christian Fulton, Randy Bullock did not practice. So is Danico Autry, but they're saying that they're both questionable, so they might give it a go. The fact is, it's home field They know they just lost a frustrating playoff loss to the Bengals just a year ago where they should have won that game. They literally sacked Joe Burrow 9 times. They still lost. I think the Titans are going to come in this game, man. And I'm not saying they're going to blow out the Bengals because the Bengals have had 6 straight games of 30-plus points. Yeah. So they could still come in there and put up 27-30. I don't think they're going to. I think Derrick Henry's going to have a big game. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to build off what he just did last week where he balled the hell out in Green Bay.
Burks back.
You got Traylon Burks back. Guys, I think the Titans are going to win this game. I think the over-under's right where I would put it. Yeah. I think it's going to be like a 27-24 kind of game. I think both offenses can get some situational scoring down. But I'm trusting Derrick John Henry in this one without Joe Mixon on the other side. I'm giving the Titans the plus 2.5, and I have the Titans winning this game.
Man, I don't even see those teams getting into the 20s. I mean, the Titans might, because I think the Titans win this game as well. I do like them here, but I like them because they force teams to play their game.
Yeah.
And they should have beat them in the playoffs last year, and that pisses them off. They should have won that game.
If they had Ryan Tannehill, they might have beaten the Chiefs.
Yes. You know what I mean? So I thought of course. Mike Vrabel is such a damn good coach. He has guys running through walls for him.
Yeah.
He is a great players coach, and say what you want about defensive-minded coach. This guy just gets his guys rallied.
Can't argue
it.
He
knows how to have them. He has them prepared every week. Outside of that Bills game this year, which is a strange front-running kind of game.
Yep.
They're in every single game, and I think they're going to force the Bengals to play their type of tempo. And they did in that playoff game, which they kind of got screwed in that game. They should have won that one, but they don't forget that. They want to bring it to the teams that they know they struggle against.
People don't forget.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. So they bring it, especially in these Bengals, Chiefs, these kind of games. The teams they know that they have a kind of a beef with, and they like to play hard against. I think they're going to go out there and rough these Bengals up, and I don't think the Bengals have that internal fortitude yet. They're not proven.
And this is the worst matchup for the Bengals before they have to play the Chiefs.
Wow,
because this is a physical.
And what do the Titans do? Yeah. The Titans get there with 3 and 4 defensive front. They don't blitz.
Yep.
And that's gonna. And if they can get there get there with 4 on Joe Burrow, and he holds the ball second most in the NFL in the pocket. They're gonna start collecting sacks in this game and make Joe Burrow's day very lengthy. Yep. And I think the Titans win this one, man. I do.
Yeah, I'm picking the Titans on this one too. I think if they play the way they play the Chiefs, rough, forcing them to play their type of game. Mm-hmm. I don't think the Bengals have the answer to respond to that.
Yeah, and they have no running game. It's not
especially with Joe Mixon out and then Jamar Chase being questionable. You don't know how healthy he is if he actually plays. Is he really healthy? He was a limited participant practice all week, I think.
Yep.
So, how healthy is he? Are you going to risk him, especially with the Chiefs coming into town next week? Mm-hmm. If I'm the Bengals, I would just rest them and see what I can do against the Titans. But I think the Titans are gonna force the Bengals to play their type of game, and it's that rough style kind of game. So
this looks like a 20-14, 20-17 kind of game.
Yeah,
that's what the Titans want. So I think that's how they're gonna. That's how it's gonna go. It's gonna be a low tempo kind of game.
There's other matchups I want to get to, but time permitting, because I know Eddie, man, he's got a big Mexico game to watch today with Argentina. One more game I want to get to, and then we can move on. Chargers are visiting the Cardinals. Both these teams have been utter disappointments this season to this point.
Chargers, man.
Chargers come into this game Chargers come into this game 2.5-point favorites with the over/under at 48.5, which I also like that line a lot. I might even teeter with that being the over because I think both these teams are coming into this game very much banged up on both sides of the ball. Adderley, the safety for the Chargers, is going to be probably out for this game. They're also missing their cornerback, if I'm not mistaken. I have the list right here. Yeah, their quarterback Michael Davis is going to be questionable with a knee. Gerald Everett was a full participant Friday, so he'll probably give it a go. Yeah. But Mike Williams is out, and that's been their most consistent weapon this season from the receiving end. Austin Eckler's obviously going to be fine. He's good to go. But the Cardinals have a lot of guys that are out. Zach Ertz is still out. He's probably going to be out for the rest of the season. DJ Humphries is out. It looks like Moore's going to be out. It also looks like Byron Murphy is going to be out there, cornerback.
And Hollywood Brown's still a week away, probably.
Yes. So they're both banged up. But I'm going to give the Cardinals the edge in this one because of the fact that I think that DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray being back in full swing, full motion against this horrendous passing defense that the Chargers have had this year, even with Derwin James playing at an all-pro level.
And rushing defense.
Man,
James Conner might have a game.
Yeah, man. I think James Conner is going to have a big game. I think Kyler Murray is going to be able to scramble for first downs on 3rd and longs. Yep. I think this is going to be another one of those frustrating games for the Cardinals or the Chargers because the Chargers were so hell-bent on beating the Chiefs, and a heartbreaking loss like that at home again could really, because that's what happened last season. You saw all down the stretch. They had an opportunity. You win, you're in, and you lose to the Raiders the way you did. I think Brandon Staley's coaching days are very much numbered. I think I picked the Chargers to miss the playoffs again. I think that's going to happen. I think they're going to fall to 5-6 in this game. I think the Cardinals squeak this one out, but I do think there's going to be points on the board. I think Justin Herbert's going to have a good game because the Cardinals defense is not good, but I think that the Cardinals offense is going to do just enough against this Chargers horrendous defense to get this going. And this is one of the few games where the Cardinals actually have the coaching advantage. So I think this is going to be one of those games where Cliff Kingsbury actually looks halfway decent, and he's fighting for his job as well. So he knows that he's got to win a game like this against a team that's very much battered and bruised against the Chargers, who are falling in the standings. I'm going to pick the Cardinals to win. I know that the line is 2.5. I have the Cardinals plus 2.5.
Yeah, I like this game a lot. This game to me is going to be fun because I love these later in the season must-win games when both teams are must-wins. Because the Cardinals still have a chance to make the playoffs here if they win this game. They're very much in the race because the NFC is so strange this year. But the Chargers obviously have to win this game. Yeah, you know what I mean. So this is like, and then with Kyler being back, the addition getting Gerald Everett back is huge because I think the Cardinals are the worst team against defending receiving tight ends. They're terrible. They're just a sieve. They let tight ends just eat. So this could be a big matchup for him, a good game for him. I think this is going to be a shootout. I think both these quarterbacks are going to ball. Like I said, James Conner, I think could go get 2 touchdowns. He likes to score touchdowns in pairs. He always has like big games when it comes to like bad rushing defenses. He likes to score multiple touchdowns in those kind of games. So I think there's a chance he gets a couple. DeAndre is going to absolutely just shred this secondary. But I also think Keenan Allen could go out there and have a big game, and I think Austin Eckler might have a massive game. This is going to be a shootout. I think there's going to be 3-4 touchdowns apiece for both these teams. So this one's going to be fun. I'm definitely going to be trying to watch this one. This is if you're a fantasy player or better, this is like a lot of fantasy goodness in this one. I think there'll be a lot of scoring. So I do like the Cardinals, though. I do like Kyler and his game back. He has a great connection with D-Hop. That's proven. And I think that's a deadly one. And I think that they're just going to go out there and barely eke this one out, but I think it's going to be competitive and high scoring.
Yeah, Diop in just 5 games this year has 45 receptions for 487 yards. He's averaging 97 yards a game.
Yeah, I mean, if he started the year, he'd be rivaling Tyreek right now.
Unbelievable,
you know what I mean? So he's a beast, bro. Yeah, steroid boy.
I'm a Trevor on this one. I love how closer to the end of the season it's coming to those must-win situations, especially with both teams playing against each other. If they win, they control their own destiny.
Both coaches might be out their jobs on the line here.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's going to be a great thing to see, especially Kyler Murray being back from that injury. And then obviously him and, like you said, him and Hopkins just have that connection that Kyler Murray can close his eyes, throw the ball. He'll know that Hopkins will more than likely catch that ball. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a shootout. I'm with Trevor. I think it's going to be a shootout, especially because it's a must-win situation with both teams. So that being said, I do think that the Cardinals are going to get the edge at the end of the game. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be like a field goal type of game, but I do think there's going to be a lot of scoring. But it's going to come down to that last second field goal, and I think the Cardinals will get that edge.
Yeah, I like it. Well, we're going to give you guys our full slate of picks tomorrow, as we do every Sunday, about an hour before kickoff on noon games. So be ready for that, because there's other good matchups I'd definitely like to sink my teeth in, but we just, time permitting, man, we got to make sure that we just get that out there for tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. Join us on Facebook, on Twitter as well, if you guys want to get that full slate of picks. Trevor does a lot of over-under stuff as well, so he can definitely help you guys with that. If you have any questions, definitely hit him up at Trev the Spoken on Twitter. Let's get to the Chiefs-Rams preview. This is I would love to sit here and say it's an intriguing matchup. I know Andy Reid always loves to say that we're looking forward to the challenge of facing so-and-so, and they're a great team, and all this other stuff. And that's the fun hoopla of being a coach with coach speak. And I actually appreciate that about Andy Reid, because it always tells me that he doesn't take anybody lightly. He takes every single matchup seriously. Having said that, guys, there's not a lot of intrigue to this one, because this is a game the Chiefs should absolutely win very comfortably. This is a matchup with two teams that have been the most successful franchises in the NFL since 2018, but are now going in complete opposite directions. The Rams pushed all their chips in last year, essentially trading all their first-round picks that they had for the foreseeable future to land big-time players like Matthew Stafford and Jalen Ramsey, and they 100% cashed in by winning the Super Bowl last year, Super Bowl 56. But after a Sean McVay, Aaron Donald retirement scare, Andrew Whitworth actually legitimately retiring, and a string of injuries to key players like Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, who both will not play this week against the Chiefs, the Rams look to be a team that is on its way down from the high they briefly experienced this last year. Whereas the Chiefs, as we've been talking forever now, are once again dominating the AFC West and AFC as a whole, and what many assume to be a down year with new young pieces sprinkled across this roster, having not only won 6 of their last 7 while outscoring their opponents 212 to 118 or 168 in those games, the Chiefs look primed and ready for another annual hosting of the AFC Championship, which I do very much believe is going to take place. And this is just a stepping stone in that direction. And not only have the Rams lost 6 of their last 7 games, they've lost by double digits 4 times in that span while being outscored 147 to 83 in those losses. So this is the first week of this season, to me, in which I can't think of any real scenario that the Chiefs could find a way to lose. I know that's scary for some people. Like, oh, it's an upset, trap game, all this other stuff.
If Stafford was playing, that might give you some kind
yes,
of pause.
I would. Without Cooper Kupp, without any real run game, letting Henderson just walk, Cam Akers being so inconsistent, this offensive line being horrendous, and despite the fact that the Rams defense, although healthy and littered with talent, has been mediocre at best. I think they're 17th in total defense this year.
They're still like a top 3 rush defense, though.
Top 3 rush defense, but that's the thing is going against Chiefs offense, that's not going to matter. Yeah, that's not going to matter. You're going against an elite rushing defense. What happened against the Bucs and Niners?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, did that matter? No, it didn't matter. And those are better defenses, in my opinion, than the Rams to this point. Yep. So I know that's scary to some to play a team like this with a humongous spread of, I think the Chiefs are minus 16 favorites right now.
15.5, 16.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll drop a little bit. It'll be like 14.5 by game time.
It might go up. Shit.
Guys, I'm going to tell you right now, the Chiefs are going to clap some cheeks this week. Because here's the thing, and I talk about this all the time, and it's good, too, that the Chiefs have matchups like this before big games, because the big game next week is against the Bengals, and the Chiefs are 0-2 against Joe Burrow. So that matters.
We need a game like this, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Chiefs need to have a game like this where they can get out, go get some quick points, and put this team away, and then have everybody rested and ready to go for a Bengals team that's going to be coming off a very physical road game against the Tennessee Titans. Chiefs need to go out there, like I said, put up 28 points in the first half and just coast. That's what needs to happen in this game. They're playing a rookie quarterback, Perkins. I saw him play briefly last week. He looked horrible, just like Malik Willis did the week before. The only difference is Malik Willis had a team with Derrick John Henry on his side and a defense that was playing unbelievable. Yeah. Although the Rams have Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey and a few other names, they have not been even nowhere near the defense they have been over the past couple of years. Guys, I want to keep this one brief. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game by several points. I think that they're actually going to beat the Rams by more points than the Rams score. I really do. I don't see how the Rams are going to score points. If they had Cooper Kupp, they had Matthew Stafford, I could see this game being a 8 to 10 point victory for the Chiefs. They don't have either one of those guys. They don't have anybody reliable on the offensive side, let alone the offensive line being as bad as it is. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game by 3 or 4 touchdowns, and I think that's being nice because Andy Reid is definitely going to take his foot off the gas in the third and fourth quarter. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have a visor on with a clipboard by the end of the third quarter. I think Chad Henne is going to play some actual minutes in this game, maybe a couple possessions. How do you see this game going, Trev?
Yeah, I mean, this is just one. Like I was saying, as fans, we need a game like this, so I can just kick back, put my feet up, smoke a cigar,
stress-free,
just chill, not have to worry about this game because this is just one of those games. We could talk about trap games. This is just not it. This is not one of those situations.
Right.
This is a team that's understanding that their season is over. They let they're pretty much their starting running back just walk.
Yeah.
They're going to see what they have in this young rookie running back that they drafted this year, who's pretty good. But other than that, I mean, Tyler Higbee is going to be one of their only passing options. I know they got Allen Robinson still out there and Van Jefferson, but none of the guys really need to worry about because the quarterback who's throwing to him, there's not much. He was a good college quarterback, I believe, but I don't know much about him at all, and there's nothing really to worry about. I don't think we need to go score that much to win this game. I think we'll go up maybe a 2 scores, 2 or 3 scores probably, and then like you said, Andy Reid will take the his foot off the gas, and Henne will most likely finish this game, maybe finish the last quarter of this game, depending how it goes. But yeah, I think we run the ball well here. I think we just try to milk the clock, and I think we try to put together some long drives together just to get this clock ticking away.
Yeah.
And I think the Rams will probably appreciate that.
Yeah.
For being honest,
if we go out there and have some long drives, as long as they finish in touchdowns, put this team away. This could be obviously a chance too, because I know Juju's playing, but I don't know if Juju should play too much. I mean, granted, it was a concussion, but I don't want to risk him, getting hit and taking another hit from a team that, a game that we had put away early. So I don't know how much we're going to see out of him. He's a full go. I get it, but avoiding injury in a game that doesn't really hold much weight is ideal for me. So rotating a lot of bodies, not having. I don't think there's going to be like one guy that absolutely just goes off in this game, because I think we're going to rotate a lot of guys in and out. I just see Pat go out there having an efficient game, throw 3 touchdowns, 3 or so touchdowns to 3 different people or so. Travis Kelce might get him another one. I'm sure we're trying to get him his numbers up this year. So yeah, this is just one of those games, man, where just get in, get out. Let's prepare for these upcoming games. We got some Bengals coming. They've got some big games coming up. Yeah, this is just one of those games, man, where it's like, this is actually the first game of the year. Like you said, this is where we don't have to really put much into it and really stress as a team, like really get into the analysis. This game just is what it is.
Yeah.
One team is, it's closing time is playing in the background for the Rams right now. So the Chiefs this is just maybe the biggest mismatch of the entire season for any game.
Right.
So yeah, the Rams are bad, and yeah, we should win by multiple scores. I don't know if it's going to be a 16-plus point victory, because I don't think we need to. But yeah, Chad Henne will most likely be finishing this game. So
yeah, yeah, I don't think it's going to be a close game at all. I think the Chiefs are going to go out there, do their thing, call it a day. I'm with Lance. I think by the fourth quarter, we're going to see all pretty much both defensive and offensive backups. Throughout the game, we're going to see the Rams probably score some garbage points, which is going to make our defense look even worse. Whatever the fuck they do their rankings in. The Rams being my Super Bowl contenders, I've officially given up on them. Their season is done.
Yeah. Oh, are you sure? Because, supposedly, according to some betting sites, they're still the favorites to win the NFC West. I'm not making that up.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on. Maybe they're just...
my Packers, man. Like, I'm like, this week is going to be the deciding factor.
There's no way, especially with, Stafford being hurt.
Yeah.
Cooper Kupp not going to be there for the next 6 weeks.
Yeah, he's done for the year.
He's done.
Yeah.
More than likely done for the year.
Shelve him.
So it's hard to see the Rams go out there and actually compete against the Chiefs, especially if the Chiefs play the way that they've been playing football. There's no way the Rams can go out there and say, yeah, we can beat these teams. It's very, very hard to believe that.
Yeah.
So I do believe the Chiefs are going to go out there, dominate from the first drive to the last Patrick Mahomes drive. I think they're just going to keep on scoring.
Yeah.
It be a touchdowns or field goals. I just think every drive the Chiefs can potentially score. And to your point, Trevor, about they don't need to score a lot of points. I agree with that. Yep. The thing about it though is that Patrick Mahomes and these guys want to still continue to make a statement this season, and I think those first 2 to 3 quarters they're going to go out there and they're going to put it all out.
There's nothing to prove in this game.
What I'll say is this: I want to put this carefully because I know this might sound like I'm being contradictory or I'm contradicting myself by saying that they're going to put some points up, but they're also going to hold some stuff back because they have the Bengals next week, and they don't want to put too much on film with Juju coming back, things like that. But I still think it's not going to matter. I think they could still play vanilla style of offense and move the ball to where they're getting in the red zone, and the Chiefs have been by far the best red zone offense in the league this season.
I think it's a conservative, respectable win. I don't think Andy Reid never likes to go like absolutely, because like the Bills, they like to front run. Like when they beat the Rams, when they beat the Titans, they're like, oh, let's put 50
if Perkins,
I don't think that's our
if Perkins throws a couple like interceptions on their side of the field, Chiefs get early a short yardage. Yeah. They get a couple touchdowns off that. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. A couple interceptions.
But you as a team, you don't want to go out there and destroy the current Super Bowl champions?
Well, you want to keep momentum going. I don't think there's much. I know these two teams have had history of great games against each other.
Maybe the greatest game, regular season game ever.
This is for sure. This is an entirely different team. This is an entirely different vibe. I mean, this is. But
it's still the current Super Bowl champions. So you don't think the Chiefs want to go out there and prove a point.
I just don't think this game has any juice like that. I just don't. There's no juice into this matchup at all.
Well, and I do
With
think the
Stafford
Chiefs.
being down,
I hate to sound disrespectful to the Rams here because these guys are
no
professionals.
disrespect.
These guys are professionals. McVay's
They're
one of the best
defending
coaches in
champs.
football.
Yeah.
He's one of the best coaches in football. But here's the thing: the Chiefs can utilize this game as getting some things right before the Bengals,
Right.
because that game matters far more than this game. It's an AFC matchup against a team that's in the playoff picture.
Yeah.
So there's a lot there. And again, that game has juice because again, the Bengals have owned the Chiefs to
That's
this
what I'm
point. They're
saying.
0-2 against Joe Burrow.
So I think this is the way Andy Reid's probably looking at it as well. If I could put myself in his mind,
Yeah.
I think just getting in and getting out.
Yeah.
Get this dub. Keep everyone healthy because we're already dealing with some injuries right now. Juju's just back from one. Kadarius is a mystery still right now. Don't want to get anybody else hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the main thing here. Just go win by 7 to 15 points. Get in, get out. We don't need to go blow these guys out. That's not even necessary. And, I think that Andy Reid tends to have that respect for other coaches that he respects. McVay is definitely But McVay's like the next kind of Andy Reid kind of mind. So that's kind of like where he's. I think the respect is there. And I don't think we're going in there trying to blow the doors off this game, which could happen unintentionally.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those games where the Chiefs are like, man, we kind of played a B game and scored 35 points.
We actually got a pick six.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think that Perkins is going to have a couple turnovers. It's going to get if it's not pick sixes, it's going to be putting the Chiefs on the 32-yard line on the Rams side of the field.
I think see Henny playing the whole fourth.
That's what I'm saying. I do think that's going to happen. I think Patrick's going to have like 285 yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. I think that's what's going to happen. They're very methodical. They're not going to have to play well because you saw the Rams over the last several weeks. Yeah. They've been playing far inferior teams to the Chiefs, and they've been getting smacked. Yeah. So that's just kind of where, and that was when the games mattered. Now it's deep in the season. These guys are talking about Cabo, things of that nature. They're not really into it. Aaron Donald's probably losing interest, and that's where I want to put this. The key players of this game. I actually want to throw this out here though because you guys know I'm excited about this. It sounds like Ronald Jones is going to get a play in this one. I'm really excited about this because I think this can be a game where he goes out there, puts some good stuff on film, gives the Chiefs some confidence as to why he needs to continue to play. I think he's going to be on the roster for the rest of the season. I think he's going to get that running back 2 position because Isaiah Pacheco has rightfully owned that, or earned that, I should say. Isaiah Pacheco has earned the running back 1. But I think Ronald Jones is going to play a decent game this week and give the Chiefs an opportunity to say, you know what, hey, you play pretty well, man. Like, this is a good rush defense. That's one thing they're actually decent at. Yeah. He puts up 55 yards.
Aaron Donald, man.
It's because I think the Chiefs they're not going to go out there and throw Pacheco out there either. I don't think he's rushed for 25 times. No. I think Pacheco will get some early play and then get Ronald Jones into this. Yes. Get Ronald Jones in there, get rushing, 13, 14 rushes for Ronald Jones. Yeah. Let him show you what you can do later in the game when it's kind of out of reach. But I'm really excited to see my guy Ronald Jones out there. And according to Chiefs Wire from a couple hours ago, Andy Reid did say there's a legitimate chance he plays this week. So I think that's going to happen. Let's get to our key players of this game. I want to start with my 2 guys. The way I see this game going is the only way the Rams can make this one even contentious is if they go out there and they put pressure on Patrick Mahomes with Aaron Donald, which is why Joe Thuney is my key player in this game. Because Joe Thuney plays left guard, he's been limited at practice all week. Him and Creed Humphrey are gonna have to shore up the middle of that offense, the middle of the offensive line against an elite pass rusher in Aaron Donald. I think if they neutralize him, Patrick is gonna do literally whatever the hell he wants against this defense.
Keep this game close,
it's Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
So if they neutralize Aaron Donald, and Joe Thuney throughout the years has been the guy that can actually shut Aaron Donald down. We saw in the Super Bowl. Yeah. We saw in several matchups back in his Patriots days. He shuts Aaron Donald down. So if Joe Thuney's close to 100% or 85%, I think he can neutralize Aaron Donald, especially with Creed Humphrey being right there. I think that they can neutralize him, and Patrick Mahomes is going to do whatever he wants. Travis Kelce might have a big first half. Juju might have a big first half, and then just coast the rest of the way. That's my first key player of this game. The second one, I'm going to go right back to the linebacker position because I think if the Rams are able to do anything in the offense, it's going to be dump off, bubble screens, trying to extend drives on 3rd and longs with those little dump offs because they're going to give Perkins a safety package. Yeah. They're not going to have him going out there throwing deep in the back of the 40, 50 yard throws. I think they're going to have him do safe stuff, dinks and dunks, things like that. Try to see what you can get out of the yak yards. That's why Nick Bolton and Willie Gay are going to be key players in this one. So I'm going to stick the middle of the offensive line and linebackers in this one. Those guys neutralize the bubble screens, neutralize those little dump offs, and then they neutralize Aaron Donald. This is going to be a blowout, and I think that's what's going to happen. Trevor, who are yours?
Yeah, so defensively, I've been trying to call this one for 2 different points this season. I haven't been able to get it because he just hasn't gotten there yet. I need George Karlaftis to get him a sack or 2 this week. This is the best opportunity he can get. This is going to be a game that's probably going to be out of hand. Go out there and get I don't care if it's garbage time, sacks. I don't care what it is. I don't care. He needs to get on. He's got a half sack this year, right? So he's been getting pressures galore. But I want to see him get on board with some, solo sacks. I want to see one. I think he needs that. Moving forward in this season, this could be a great opportunity for him to kind of get that under his belt. So that's my guy. I want to see George Karlaftis have a good performance here. Offensively, I'm going with Sky Moore again. I think he had a great kind of coming out party last week with that opportunity, and he thrived in that opportunity, and that was very good to see. With Kadarius Toney going out early in the game, that's hard to prepare for. You don't ever prepare for a guy to go out that early like that, a guy that you probably had a pretty good game plan for. And he stepped up. He's great against the cover 2, he was the highest graded cover 2 rookie in the draft. And I liked what I saw from him at the line of scrimmage, beating guys immediately at the line of scrimmage with his speed and his twitchiness. Sure-handed guy, too, for his size. Big hands for being a kind of an undersized receiver. So I like what I'm seeing out of him, his ability to catch the ball and find those spots and Pat was finding them. I think they built upon that performance from last week. And this is a good secondary to eat against. They've been struggling all year, especially against smaller speed kind of guys like that, too. I think he eats in this game. I think if anybody gets an opportunity, we don't want Juju to go get hit and get banged up again. We're really trying to keep him healthy. So I think Juju sees the field, obviously, but I don't think we have like a massive game plan for Juju just go, be out there too much. So I think this is another great opportunity in a game where we're going to win comfortably, where Sky Moore can go get more and more reps and build on that confidence from last week. This just feels like a good continuance from last week going into this one. So I think Sky Moore goes and has maybe pushes for 100 yards this week. I think he has a really good game and possibly a score. I think 2 of our young guys. I think he can score, and I kind of want to throw as a bonus. I think Pacheco can score here this week as well. So I think Sky Moore has a solid game this week.
All right, for my offensive player in this game, I'm gonna go with Travis Kelce. Why am I going with Travis Kelce? For the simple fact that Aaron Donald's on the opposite side, so he's going to create that pressure on Patrick Mahomes regardless of who you have in there. Mm-hmm. You can triple team him, double team him, quadruple team him. He's going to find a way.
He's a terrible matchup in the secondary.
Yeah, and Travis Kelce, I think with the quick little routes that he always does, I think it's going to be a nice little quick getaway for Patrick Mahomes, and I think that's going to, get Travis Kelce to do his thing, get over 100 yards like he usually does, get a couple scores. So I do expect Travis Kelce to have a big game, just for the simple fact that we have Aaron Donald on the other side. So that's my offensive player. My defensive player, I'm gonna go with Snead on this one, L'Jarius Snead. Why am I going with Snead? Because I think that just how bad this offensive line is, and just not having to really worry about one receiver on the other end. I think this is gonna be a perfect place where he can get either a pick, couple picks, or maybe go in there and get a sack or 2. His
corner sack ability is insane.
Yeah, being that corner sack that he always does, and get a sack or 2.
Blitzing, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm picking Snead on that one.
Like it.
When it comes to the score prediction on this one, I'm going to throw this one out here as well. So the fewest yards that the Chiefs have allowed this season, the fewest points they've given up this season, ironically, was in a loss to the Colts in Week 3 when they only allowed 17 points. They've allowed 17 points 3 different times this season, but they only allowed 259 total yards of offense. I think the Chiefs allow fewer yards than that in this game. I think the Rams are going to really struggle to move the ball all game long. I know we talk about garbage time. I don't think it's going to matter, even if the game is out of reach, because I don't think that Perkins is going to be able to move the ball at all. We saw Malik Willis do the same thing. He could not move the ball. Luckily, Derrick Henry was able to run the ball the way he did, I think 178 rushing yards in total for the Titans. I don't think that there's any scenario that Perkins has over 200 passing yards, and I had the question raised this week about whether the Titans do or the Rams score a touchdown in this week. That was a legitimate question. I do think they managed to get one. I think there will be one, maybe like a one big play, and then they get right at the goal line in the third quarter, and they get a nice little punch in. Outside of that, I think they only get one field goal. I think the Rams only score 10 points in this game, and I think the Chiefs score north of 30 because of the fact, like I said, there's going to be some turnovers in this one. I think this is where the Chiefs are going to kind of bolster that plus-minus where they have right now, the turnover takeaway margin, which is one of the worst in football. I think they get closer back to that 0 where they can kind of get as a wash. I think the Chiefs get a couple turnovers in this game, get some short fieldage for Patrick Mahomes early in the game. He punches in it a couple more times. I think the Chiefs are going to win this game. If I had to make a bet right now, I'm going to say 38-10. I think they're going to really put it on the Rams, and it's not going to be because they're out there putting on a bunch of film, putting a bunch of big plays out there. I think it's just they're so much better than the Rams at this point of the season. This is going to be that one game like Trevor and I were talking about since week 1, where that was a blowout victory. That one felt really nice as well. I think that's going to be that next game where
it was week 1. There was still like you never know.
You never know, exactly. So it was a very stress-free game. I think we have finally another stress-free game this week, and the Chiefs win by multiple touchdowns, 38-10.
Yeah, I like 38-10. I like it. I'm gonna say 36-13. That's kind of like where I don't think the Rams are gonna be able to put up points either. I think there'll be multiple field goals and a score maybe here and there, maybe 2 touchdowns if they're having a big game. But yeah, I like the Chiefs should be able to go north of 30 and with little effort. Honestly, I just don't think this is one of those situations where we're really Pat's gonna have to go throw 35 times more or so. This is just I think. We could have a big defensive play that could put us in position to put us in the red zone. We can have multiple opportunities to put up points here. I think we can just go out there with a vanilla game plan, not put too much on film for our next coming matchups, which are a couple big ones. So I think we just play a vanilla offense, and I think we can put up points with the vanilla game plan with the weapons that we have right now. So yeah, 36-13 is my
score. I'm going to go with 35-17. I think they're going to score a lot of those points. Like I said, in garbage time. We might be leading like 35-3 or something like that, and they get 2 touchdowns in the last 2 drives that they have.
And just to reiterate my confidence as to why the Chiefs are going to win this way and why the Rams are going to score a lot of points. If you look at with Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp this season, the Rams scored 10 or fewer points this season 3 different times. Yeah. And they've scored less than 26 different times. That's with
the Broncos with a lesser defense,
right? That's with their best players. So now that both those guys are gone, I don't see how they come in here and a top 10 defense like the Chiefs, and they're going to go in here and put up points. So that's where we have it. Let us know what you guys think the score totals will be. Who's going to win this game? Any game that you guys want to talk about, let us know. Present it to us. Hit us up on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel and let us know what you guys think. We'd love to hear from you. But in the meantime, we have one more order of business to tend to, guys. What's it called? Hold this L. Each and every week we finish off each and every episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's in the world of sports are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who's ever holding those L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Mr. Eddie Ortiz, Mr. Yo, who's holding the L for you this week, and why is it F1?
It's not F1. F1's over. Season's over.
Hey, you never know. They could always have another one.
No, I'm going to give it to Argentina, man. The World Cup favorites going into this game, especially against a team that nobody knows really much anything of. And you dominate the first half the way you did, so we're thinking, like, you know what? They're just going to dominate the whole game, just come back second half and do the same thing. Nope. Like I said in the previous, Saudi Arabia scored and Argentina crumbled. They tried to come back, but they couldn't. This is a game that they had to win to prove a point, and they lost. Now they have to go against Mexico and win this game. They can't draw this game. They have to win this game in order to stay alive with really good hopes of making it into the next round. So the expectations were super high on Argentina, and they obviously disappointed every single one of those with a historic loss. I don't think Argentina has ever lost to a team like that before in the World Cup. So, yeah, I mean, there is 0 excuses on that. You put yourself in this situation where on a must-win situation in a very, very, very tight group to begin with. So, for that reason, Argentina, you have to do me a favor and
hold this L. Trevor Toole, who's holding the L for you this week?
So, when you guys think of, like, you know, teams that win a lot of games and successful franchises in the NFL, you know, so when you hear a slogan like "Win City," what team do you think of? You tend to think of maybe the Patriots, maybe or 49ers over the years, all these teams that have had Steelers, the teams that have long franchises of winning a lot of games. The current Chiefs teams, well, I mean, apparently the Las Vegas Raiders tend to think that Win City is something that falls right in line with their mentality and what they do on the football field. I did not know this, but at the beginning of the year, the Las Vegas Raiders filed a trademark application for the slogan "Win City." The filing indicates that the Raiders plan to use quote-unquote Win City as the slogan for the team and to sell it on merchandise. I don't know about you guys, but I've yet to see any Win City chants, Win City scarves, Win City hoodies, Win City hats, Win City anything this year for the Raiders. I know they had high hopes heading into this year with the acquisition of Devontae Adams and in their surprise playoff berth last year, and their surprise little run they had going on, which was honestly impressive, and I gave them their kudos. Derek Carr played well down the stretch, and they had a lot of possibly good momentum and juju heading into this next season with the arguably getting the best wide receiver in the game to join them. And they have this beautiful new Allegiant Stadium, which is incredible. They have, for some reason, one of maybe the most loyal fan base in American sports. Raiders fans, they just continue I don't know, it's some kind of fetish, to keep putting themselves through this kind of pain. But kudos to them, they stick around, But for some reason, they thought that Win City sounded like a fitting, maybe a little premature slogan for the team this year or ever, or at least in the last 30 years or so. So, like I said, I'll reiterate. I have not yet seen any merchandise for the Raiders saying Win City. Maybe I'm out of the loop on that. I know a lot of Raiders fans. I play fantasy football with a lot of Raiders fans. I've yet to hear any Win City chants. It's between Just Win and Win City. Las Vegas Raiders have to do me a favor because they haven't done any of that. Do me a solid favor and
hold this L, not this win.
Yeah, no dubs.
So the Bills beat the Lions this week, 28-25. Absolute nail biter in that one. Fun game, good game. I don't honestly know. I was watching this game. I was sitting here going, Which one of these teams is an 8-win team? The other team's a 4-win team? Like I couldn't tell because they were neck and necking. I couldn't tell who was the preseason prohibitive favorite to win MVP. Was it Josh Allen or Jared Goff? Because Jared Goff had just good of the game, despite some blunders he had and opportunities to win that game. Serious side of things, obviously Von Miller went down with a knee injury. It doesn't look good. In fact, I'm pretty much assuming he's going to be gone for the rest of the year. Given his age, his previous ACL injuries, one of my favorite players over the last 10 years. I love that guy. He was a Bronco before, so I saw him twice a year, and I still love the guy. He's just a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer, so I wanted to put that out there first and foremost. But the guy I want to target is the quarterback for the Bills, and I know everybody loves when I get to talk about Mr. Josh Allen because I'm obsessed over him, and Bills Mafia just absolutely loves me. So Bills Mafia, if you're watching, you're gonna enjoy these next few minutes here. So I remember, and I am old enough to remember, that Josh Allen was coming into this season. Everyone was talking him, and I mean almost everybody, as the best quarterback in the league, the MVP favorite. The Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. All this other shit, right? Well, I look at sample size, and I go off of that. And I like to look at those things, and I like to criticize or praise people for those very reasons and what your results and what production you've put up. Last 5 games, Josh Allen is completing fewer than 60% of his passes. He's averaging 241 passing yards. He has 6 passing touchdowns with 7 interceptions and a 76 quarterback rating. He has lost his team multiple games, lost the first seed. I know they're at the top of the AFC East right now. That's only because the Dolphins haven't played yet, and they're about to wallop the Houston Texans and take back the 1 seed. Josh Allen has been a detriment to his team this season, and with the injuries they're now facing, that's a real problem, especially when they're not a team that's known to run the ball with any succession. Especially when you look at the fact that the rest of the schedule the Bills have is the hardest remaining schedule in the NFL. In fact, look at the pass defenses they have to play for the remaining of the schedule. They play the 5th-ranked passing defense in the Jets, the 7th-ranked passing defense in the Bengals, the 13th-ranked pass defense in the Bears, the 15th-ranked New England Patriots twice, and then they have to face even the Dolphins. As bad as they've been on defense for the majority of the season, they're the top 20. They're a top 20 pass defense in this league with Xavier Howard and those guys. Yep. So they're the worst passing defense the Bills have remaining on their schedule. And Josh Allen is banged up, and he's been throwing the football to the other team far more than he's been throwing to his own teammates when it comes to touchdowns, to interceptions.
It's the facts.
Look, guys, you can get mad at me. You can say whatever you want. You can make memes. You can do all that stuff, and I love it, and bring it on. I love that stuff. It makes me feel better about myself and how much I matter to y'all. But you know what should matter to you more is the fact that your quarterback that had all this expectation and was drawing all these comparisons to Patrick Mahomes, who I don't know, has actually won meaningful games and has actually won those awards you all just want to crown Josh Allen on. He's the one that is struggling the most. As bad and as banged up as your defense has been, as bad and as banged up as some of your guys on the offensive side and the offensive line especially has been, they have not been the reason why you guys lost to the Vikings. They were not the reason you lost to the Jets when Zach Wilson, who just got benched, outplayed your quarterback. Don't get mad at me, get mad at your guy. Demand more from him. That's all I got to say about it. Oh, no, wait, I have more to say. Do me a favor, Josh Allen, and hold this L. Obsessed my ass.
Well,
obsessed that L. This has been a great show. It was a fluid show. Flew by, my God. Less than 2 hours. I think that's the first time we've done that in like 2.5, 3 months. Yeah. But hey, when Mexico's playing, man, we know the rules here. We know how this goes. It's been a fun-filled show, Eddie. I appreciate the FIFA breakdown, the World Cup. I'm looking forward to this game. Oh, yeah, hopefully Mexico gets this victory, man. I'm rooting for my guy Messi, but I want to see Mexico get that victory. I appreciate all you guys, man, for participating in all this, for subscribing, for commenting, chiming in, man. Our platform has blown up, and I really appreciate it. That's all you guys. That's credit to you guys for joining us on the Spoken on Facebook and on Twitter. We really do appreciate all the feedback, whether you guys are fans of ours or not fans of ours. We appreciate the feedback because it makes us realize how important this show is to a lot of people and what we do here, and it's important to us as well. So we definitely wanted to thank you guys for all that. So for Trevor Twidwell, for Eddie Ortiz, and for the great Clay Wendler that puts all this together on the back end of things, go subscribe to Red Trap Cinema as well, guys. It's incredible work that he does each and every year, each and every week when the Chiefs get a victory. I'm Lance Twidwell. Episode 194 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito until we're here for 195 to talk about the Chiefs versus the Bengals in Cincinnati. We out of this bitch.
See ya.
Later.